What's up, y'all, and welcome to 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. The NFL's regular season has officially come to a close, even though Week 1 basically felt like it was just yesterday. We'll recap the Birds' final regular season win, as well as preview the wildcard matchup for the Birds. Basically another Week 1 matchup as the Green Bay Packers come to the Link. Without wasting any more time, let's dive into the scoring recap from that Week 18 matchup against the New York Giants. So, full disclaimer for those who didn't watch it or are brand new to Eagles football, have been living under a rock, whatever the case may be, the Eagles rested the majority of their offensive and defensive starters for this game, with the exception of a few players such as Dallas Goedert, Jordan Davis, and Bryce Huff. So, starting in the first quarter with under 7 minutes left, quarterback Tanner McKee from the 15-yard line steps back, rolls left, throws across his body, and finds wide receiver Anaya Smith for his first NFL touchdown. Eagles up 7-0. In the second quarter, the only score of this quarter was a 24-yard field goal by Jake Elliott to make the lead 10-0. In the third quarter, the only score of this one would be a Graham Gano 25-yard field goal to allow the Giants to finally get some points up on the board. Eagles still lead 10-3. And in the fourth quarter, this is where most of the points start to come in. Just 5 seconds into the fourth quarter, Tanner McKee fakes a handoff to running back Will Shipley, rolls right and throws a short pass to tight end E.J. Jenkins for a 7-yard touchdown. This not only is his first NFL touchdown, but it's Jenkins' first NFL catch. Imagine that. Your first ever catch in the NFL is a touchdown. That's got to be something special. Eagles are up 17-3. With just over about 10.5 minutes left in the quarter, Giants quarterback Drew Lock on a 3rd and 8 steps back, fires, is hit as he throws, and it is caught by wide receiver Malik Neighbors, who breaks a tackle from Eagles safety Tristan McCollum for the first touchdown of the game for the Giants. They cut the lead to just 7. Then, in about just under 7.5 minutes left, the Giants would shrink this lead with a Graham Gano field goal, Eagles 17, Giants 13. And finally, with just under a minute left in the game, the Birds return the lead to 7 with a Jake Elliott field goal, with a final score of Eagles 20, Giants 13. Tanner McKee would finish 27 for 41 with a 65.8% completion pass rate for 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 turnovers. Running back Will Shipley would finish with 10 carries for 32 yards. Wide receiver Jahan Dotson would lead receivers with 7 catches for 94 yards. All right, y'all, before we go into the discussion about this game, we got a lot of Eagles news going on this week, so let's get right into it. Starting with the fact, with the regular season over and the playoff picture is now complete, the Eagles will host the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, January 12th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore has been requested by 2 teams for head coaching interviews from the New Orleans Saints and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just fired former Eagles head coach Doug Peterson. Now, hopefully Kellen Moore stays with us. It would be beneficial for the team, especially for Jalen Hurts, considering he's had so many coordinator changes already. We gotta have some consistency. We need one to stick for him. In other news, the Eagles have 2 players named to the NFLPA All-Pro team and those players were none other than Saquon Barkley and Jalen Carter. No surprise there. These two have had incredible regular seasons, so congrats to both of them on this accomplishment. In addition to these two All-Pro players, them and 4 other Eagles were voted into the Pro Bowl games, including Landon Dickerson, Zach Bond, Lane Johnson, and Cam Jurgens. And finally, we got some roster moves going on here. The Eagles add former first-round pick out of the Minnesota Vikings, defensive back Louis Cine, to the active roster. Additionally, the Eagles waived quarterback Ian Book, and on Wednesday, according to the Eagles Wire, quarterback Jalen Hurts reported to practice, limited participation, but nonetheless, this is great news going ahead of the wildcard weekend. All right, y'all, we're going to move on to some discussions, opinions, and overreactions from that Week 18 win, starting with the offense. Holy shit, y'all. I think Tanner McKee could be a quarterback 2 for this team. 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 turnovers in his first full start. That is from a third-string quarterback. Not bad at all. And this is coming off his previous game where he had to step in for Kenny Pickett after he got hurt, where he threw for 2 touchdowns in 2 quarters. Because here's the thing. I think if Kenny Pickett is not re-signed, because I think we only signed him to a 1-year contract if I'm not mistaken, he could be picked up by another team who needs quarterback depth desperately with no issue, and then Tanner McKee could be our QB2, and then for us, we either sign or draft a quarterback 3. We could easily get Ian Book back. I think that's not a bad idea, because here's the thing. What I like about Tanner McKee is that he gets things done quickly. I can't recall how many times I've been pissed off or complained about our quarterback 1 or our quarterback 2 because they weren't getting the ball out quickly enough. But McKee, he does that for sure. You can see it. Sure, he made a couple of questionable throws against the Giants, but they were like on 4th down plays when they're already up in the last regular season of the game with your entire offense being backups. It's the perfect scenario to make those types of questionable throws. Point being, I liked what I saw out of him, and I think Tanner McKee is an asset to this team that we need to hold on to. Another person that I liked from what I saw, thanks to Tanner McKee, was actually Jahan Dotson. 7 catches for 94 yards. With the help of Tanner McKee, Jahan Dotson showed why he was a first-round pick, mainly because McKee just got the ball to Dotson. I feel like if we used Jahan all year the way that we did in this game, then we'd be talking about Dotson in a much higher manner. I don't think there's been a lot of people dogging on him necessarily, but I also don't think that there's been a ton of praise for him either. That reason could be we were just underutilizing him. Now I get it. In this game, it's different because Dotson's acting as the wide receiver 1 since A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are resting, but still, he put up 94 yards against a starting defense. I mean, even if it was a shitty Giants defense. Either way, Jahan Dotson impressed me in this game, and hopefully he sees more success in the playoffs. Overall, for our depth guys, I think they did a good job putting up 20 points on the Giants. Moving on to the defense. The defensive backups, I think they did a pretty good job as well. They held the Giants to just 1 touchdown. Not a whole lot to say about them this week. If Tristan McCollum doesn't miss that tackle, then maybe they hold the Giants to just 9 points, but who knows? What really impressed me was backup linebacker Oren Burks, who we had signed in the offseason. He did a killer job as the green dot in this game in place of Nakobe Dean. With 17 total tackles, 8 of them being solo, and 2 tackles for loss, he had a solid performance, and he's a bit of an underrated kind of guy. Hopefully, we retain him next year for depth signing at that position. Overall, it was good to see our backups not only do well, but beat a team that was using all of their starters. Going into this game, a lot of people wanted Saquon Barkley to play, considering how close he was to making NFL history by potentially beating Eric Dickerson's all-time single-season rushing yards record. And last week, I mentioned the biggest reason that I was happy Barkley wasn't playing was it significantly reduced the risk of injury, like literally to 0. I saw one comment online and they were like, well, 99% of players didn't get hurt. We could have played Barkley. And to be honest, I thought that was the dumbest take I've seen revolving around this whole issue. Because here's the thing. Look at the Packers right now. They already clinched the playoffs. The only real implication in that game was that they could have moved from a 7 seed to a 6 seed. But not only did they lose to the Bears and remain the 7 seed, but the Packers quarterback Jordan Love suffered an elbow injury, and wide receiver Christian Watson exited the game and did not return with a torn ACL, basically ending his season. Eagles fans would have, rightfully so, lost their fucking minds if something like that happened to Saquon Barkley. At least 32 players suffered injuries preventing them from returning in their games, including Jordan Love and Christian Watson, who had to be carted off the field, but also Lions corner Terrion Arnold, 49ers running back Isaiah Guerendo, Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith, and cornerback Reek Woolen, Saints tight end Foster Moreau, who was carted off the field with a knee injury, Patriots wide receiver Kayshon Boutte, Texans wide receiver John Mechie III, and Rams running back Blake Corum, who broke his freaking forearm. These are big name guys for their respective teams, some of who were playing in, quote, meaningless games. I honestly pray that all their injuries heal up quickly and smoothly. No one likes to see anybody get injured. After seeing all those injuries, I'm glad Barkley didn't play because he could have easily been one of those guys on that list. And I know the media and Philly fans would have had a field day with it if Barkley got hurt in a game that didn't mean shit. So for all the Philly fans who thought Barkley should have played, think about all those injuries and the predicaments that some of these teams are now in and see if you think that he should have played still. All right, we're going to move on to the wild card preview. So the Green Bay Packers come into the link for a rematch, this time for much bigger implications. In each of these teams' last wildcard matchups, the Packers, as a 7 seed, stomped the number 2 seed Dallas Cowboys, putting up 48 points, while the Eagles took an embarrassing loss as the 5 seed to the number 4 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Eagles are hoping to have a better outcome from last year, and here's what I think we need to do to get the win and move on to the divisional round. Starting with the offense, assuming that Jalen Hurts plays, we just got to diversify our play calling and use all of our offensive weapons. Both us and the Packers were ranked in the bottom 3 teams when it came to passing attempts. So I imagine with Saquon, the Packers are going to anticipate us running the ball a fuck ton. Kellen and Jalen got to cook up a series of diverse plays for this game to throw off the Packers from thinking we're just going to run the ball. We saw what Jahan Dotson can do when you feed him the ball. He put up nearly 100 yards. Between Jalen, Saquon, Goddard, Dotson, Brown, and Smith, there's plenty of weapons our offense can use. There's no need to rely on Saquon Barkley to carry the entire offense like he had to do in New York. Plus, considering the Packers held DeAndre Swift, that former Eagles running back, to just 3.3 yards per carry in Week 18, and the fact that the Packers held quarterbacks and running backs across the league to under 4.2 yards per carry for each position across the season, you'll want to have as many options as possible if for some reason we can't get things going with the run game. You got to make it as unpredictable as possible for this Green Bay defense. They will be without Jair Alexander, but they got guys like Carrington Valentine and Xavier McKinney, who him alone had 8 interceptions on the season in that secondary. So it won't be that easy of a matchup for our receivers and tight ends. Not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying it's not going to be as easy. So with passing, Jalen's not only got to get the pass off within a reasonable amount of time, but he's got to be smart with these throws. We may expect a little rust since he hasn't played in a couple of weeks, so as long as he doesn't play any hero ball shit, I think we'll be okay. Basically, long story short, be smart with the passes and diversify your offensive play calling. We can't rely on one component of the offense Otherwise, Green Bay is going to pick up on it and then we're screwed. Shifting over to the defensive side of the ball, similar to us, the Packers are a very run-heavy offense. And now with Christian Watson out, I anticipate they're going to rely on that even more. So, we got to contain the run game not only with Josh Jacobs, primarily him, but also with Jaden Reed as well, since they like to use him in run plays after motioning him inside. In our Week 1 matchup, they motioned Jaden Reed and handed him the ball off, to which he scored a rushing touchdown for I think like 20-25 yards, something like that. However, he scored on that with Avonte Maddox playing in the nickel position. This time, we'll have Cooper DeJean, who personally I can trust over Maddox to actually make a touchdown preventing tackle. But anyway, the number of reliable pass targets just went down for Jordan Love. So, the run game, I imagine, will be leaned on more. If our run defense shuts down that run game, we're going to be in good hands. Also, one thing to consider is without Christian Watson, they'll rely heavily more on their tight ends for pass catching, which historically the Eagles are not the best at defending tight ends. So we got to make sure we don't fall into these tight end traps where they look like they're going to be run blocking, but then cut inside for a short pass. So our nickels and our linebackers' communication, field awareness, and tackling need to be exceptionally on point for this game. I think, though, with the way our defense has been playing, they will be able to handle Jordan Love and the Packers' playmakers. All right, capping the episode off with some predictions. Listen, y'all, I was very, very close with my score prediction last week. I predicted with Week 18 that we would have a 21-14 win, and it turned out to be a 20-13 win, so that's pretty damn close. You can check out that prediction in the previous episode, by the way. So I'll keep it plain and simple. I've been thinking and seeing these numbers over the past few days of a 28-17 score with the Birds winning, so that's going to be my prediction. I'm going to predict that we'll see A.J. Brown scoring 2 touchdowns, Saquon will put 1 in the end zone, and then Jalen Hurts picks up where he left off with a rushing touchdown of his own. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Do not forget to like, subscribe, or follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15 or by the full name 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts. This episode, the entire 2nd and 15 podcast, and Old City Sports Network are sponsored by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Use promo code OCSN for 15% off the best jerky around. They have awesome flavors like Soul Survivor, OG Hickory, Darth Garlic, and more. Any orders over $50 will get free shipping. We are also brought to you by Warlord Beard Oil. Use promo code OLDSPORTS, all caps, for 15% off your beard oils, washes, soaps, and many other products for all of your beard care needs. Visit the website at www.warlordbeardoil.com. Any orders over $75 will also receive free shipping. We're also brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the app and use promo code Old City Sports Network, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. We also got some local sponsors, including Robert Hangholt Construction. If you are in the greater Philadelphia region and you have an upcoming house project or you need something done with your roof, your windows, your siding, your deck, whatever you may need, call the #1 contractor in the Philadelphia area at 610-348-1066 to get a free estimate today on your next house project. Additionally, if you're in the Delco area, visit decalsbyaaron.com for all of your Delco products and merchandise. Your #1 spot for everything Delco. And finally, we are also brought to you by Iron and Steel Threads. Visit ironsteelthreads.com and use promo code OldCity10, as in the number 10, all caps, for 10% off the entire website, and a portion of the proceeds will go to youth hockey organizations. Finally, don't forget to check out our own website, oldcitysports.com, and click that merch tab to get some awesome 2nd and 15 merch from t-shirts, hoodies, glassware, and more. Once again, thank you all for joining in. This is 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network. We will see you all next week. Don't forget to tune into the wild card game, which again is this Sunday, January 12th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. Have a safe and fun weekend. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle. And as always, go Birds!